Doubles and coffee. I see they had an anti-crime march, Project 600. Some Mr. Issa Mohammed, not the football coach that everybody know, but some gentleman who gets up when citizens join together because they are afraid. They're afraid for their families, they're afraid in their homes, they're afraid to go to malls, they're afraid to go to the grocery, they're afraid to walk down the street. They're afraid because criminals are running this country throughout every nook and cranny. Gun-running criminals, murderers without a heart. Citizens get together to say and to show those in charge, the PNM, the government, that they need some action. This Christmas is bleak because people are living in fear. And some Mr. Man gets up together to do what he calls an apolitical anti-crime march. Now, that starts off with a political stupidity that does not augur well for any solution, because in our Westminster system, the government, the Prime Minister, first past the post, the cabinet, they control everything, and the leader of the opposition has no power not even to buy a pen or a dinner mint. But that's okay. Once citizens are getting together to show the government that action needs to be taken, to show Keith Rowley that the games, they are fed up and tired of the games, that the Prime Minister must lead, the Prime Minister is in charge, the Prime Minister sets policy, the Prime Minister is the head of the National Security Council, the Prime Minister chooses the Minister of National Security, the Prime Minister formulates plans, strategies and policy, the Prime Minister controls the resources and can dictate where they're implemented, the Prime Minister can protect the border, protect the ports, the customs, make sure their scanners, resource the police. This Prime Minister even selects his own commissioner of police, so could actually give orders for the police to do what job he wants when he wants. Ask Brent Thomas. But this Mr. Mohammed gets up during his march and makes his feature address and attacks the UNC and blames the UNC as the opposition as much as the PNM. Now, either he's playing politics, either he's using the tried and tested failure to enter politics by pretending that he is so independent that he could attack either side. But then if that is the position, say so. Because no human being who understands the system that we are in could ever blame any opposition leader for the crime situation or the failure of the government to handle the crime situation. It was none other than Keith Christopher Rowley who said, and I quote, "Any government that blames the opposition when it's failed to deal with the crime situation is part of the problem." That's a quote from Keith Christopher Rowley when he was leader of the opposition. His position at that time also was that he would not help the government in anything. He would isolate the government in whatever form or fashion, whether inside or outside of the parliament, until the government is gone. That was his stated position. Kamla Visessa's position is the oblique opposite. She is begging Rowley since September, when his puppet president came to create this discourse that some crime talks are necessary to attack the crime scourge. Kamla Visessa, with her diplomatic, mature, patriotic, said, "Come on, Keith Rowley, come on, Prime Minister, come and meet. You don't want Gary, come and meet." She gave him ideas. He called her letter voluminous because it had so much policy, so many things to do. Rowley has done nothing. Rowley is traveling all over. Rowley is playing golf while people die. And Mr. Mohammed comes to blame the opposition equally with the PNM. That's disingenuous. That's dishonest. Furthermore, Mr. Mohammed, do you know your Project 600 March for Citizens? Do you know not one PNM supporter was in that march? Because they don't march. They would not go against the PNM cult. No matter how bad situations are, PNM supporters do not protest PNM government. So who was there in your march that you boasted, Mr. Mohammed, that you made 3 front pages of the newspapers all over Facebook. You're boasting. So that was the goal, to make 3 front pages. What did you achieve by making 3 front pages? Other than you feel you did something, or you are to get some kudos or to pat yourself on the back. What was achieved by making 3 front pages? You made those 3 front pages because your speech aids and abets the PNM in its failure. So the mass media, which is PNM, will promote you or your speech because they would like to blame the opposition equally as the PNM, which is a fallacious position, an asinine position, an undemocratic position, and a position which keeps the people in pain and fear from criminals and allows Rowley to continue his plan to obfuscate and to not do anything. Rowley has shirked his duty. Rowley has failed. Rowley is continuing to fail. People are dying. He is frozen in paralysis. He cannot act. He has no policy. He has done nothing. And people are dying in their homes and outside of their homes. But you are boasting that you made 3 front pages. Let me tell you, sir, you know who is the people you're talking to? Let me tell you from a personal point of view first. 18 people messaged me, a UNC Senator, Douglas Politics, Anil Roberts, and asked me, they heard about this anti-crime march and so on. Should they go? And we want to go because we want to let the government know that this is not on, that we are feeling unsafe, that we need protection. And I told all 18, of course, you go, you show support. Any citizens that are getting up to protect and to make Trinidad and Tobago better, you make your presence felt. Get out there. I know of 6 other UNC MPs who told people similar things. So, Mr. Mohammed, you had people at your march. They were either UNC or independent-minded people, no PNM. And you get up there and you attack the UNC and the leader of the opposition who has no power to do anything. And if you think that its legislation is the only thing to fight crime, then you are clueless. You don't know what the situation is. You have not read, you do not understand what causes criminal activity, what causes the pain, the suffering out there. That it takes a holistic fight from every single ministry, from education, from sport, from culture, yes, national security, border control, helicopters, air guard, coast guard, radar. It takes police service commission, commissioner of police, strategies, judiciary. It takes a lot to fight crime. And if you think that legislation, that we already have thousands and thousands of law, and you think legislation which requires the UNC or the special majorities is needed, why has the PNM not brought legislation? It's 4 months since they're talking about this crime talks. Where the legislation? They have not even called Parliament. They only call in Parliament to deal with money bills or to get more money for themselves and their recusals in the cabinet. So understand this. Your crowd was made up of independent people who may not vote and UNC supporters who support anybody once it is better for Trinidad and Tobago. And you get up there and you wrongfully attack Kamla Prasad-Bissessar and the UNC, apportioning blame when Keith Rowley is in charge. Keith Rowley is the Prime Minister. It's the responsibility of the Prime Minister to keep our country safe, not the responsibility of a leader of the opposition in a Westminster system who has no power to impact anyone or any policy or move resources or implement a strategy. That is a sad position, but I guess you are happy because your Project 600, made 3 newspaper front pages. Okay, my brother, God bless. I see your position, but I feel your Project 600, next time we'll go to Project 6 because you're not making sense. You will not impact anything. You've not understood the problem. You're playing political games and pushing a PNM message. The message is clear. The Prime Minister has failed. The National Security Council has failed. The PNM cabinet has failed. The PNM government has failed. They've been in power 8 years and crime is the worst ever. End of story. It is Rowley's fault. It is PNM fault. It is Fitzgerald Hines' fault. It is the PNM government's fault. They are responsible. Y'all can't understand that? Stop playing games with crime. Mr. Mohammed, whoever you are, Mr. Project 600 will now be Project 6. Okay? Since you don't want UNC supporters to get out there. Because if Kamla was Prime Minister, they have no crying. They have no baby, help me. Rowley, please help me. Come and talk to me. Kamla would fight and solve the problem. When Kamla was in government, crime was going down. Strategies were being implemented. The Selwyn Ryan report was being implemented across the board. There were vessels with diesel to patrol, radar, helicopter, air guard, police strategy. Commissioner of Police was not interfered with by the Police Service Commission. Resources were going to education, opportunities, sport, culture, and crime was coming down. Crime was coming down under Kamla. So you study your 3 front page. You make the papers there. Well, you make it first. You make it twice. First and last. Bless.